All right, so this is the second page of the remainder theorem worksheet. The column on the left specifically says that we're going to use synthetic division, and the column on the right is for substitution. Now, all of the questions are identical, so if you do one of them, you will know the answer, but it's just showing you how to do them, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do problem number 1. And I'm going to start with the synthetic division on the left. Okay. So first thing I want to do is I know my x value is -2. So there's my x value. And I want to grab all of my coefficients. And remember, I do a quick look at my polynomial. So I have x to the 4th, x cubed, x squared, x, and then my constant. So 4, 3, 2, 1, none. Means that I have all the terms. I just need to grab the coefficients and not worry about any placeholders for this problem. Now, one of the things you might notice is for me, I don't have a calculator up and running right now because probably I'm not going to need it, but I will have to take a look. So let's see, that's -4. So that's -8, that's going to be 16. Now, having said that, of course, these numbers just got really big. Well, not really big, but bigger than I was expecting. So let's see, 13 here. -2 times 13 is -26. -22 when I add it, which makes 44 when I multiply it. So 42. So I believe that f of -2 is 42 from my synthetic division. Now, I absolutely, in part A, can double check it, okay? So if I look at the problem right next door, whoops, it's the exact same problem, but this time I'm going to do it using substitution. So if I want to find f of -2, every place I have an x gets replaced with a -2. That is a horrible 3. Let's try that again. And whoops, did I just change? I did. I just randomly changed my x value. Let me double check. So -2, -2. Okay, all of them are -2s, and I'm going to go ahead and grab Calculate 84. Desmos works for this absolutely fine. You know, all of those possibilities. So let's clear out what I had in there. All right. And just basically take your time putting all the pieces in for your variable, all the terms. Again, I know I keep looking back and forth to make sure that I'm not losing something. I'm not dropping any values here. And I think if I do that, yep. For some reason, Calculate 84, when it's squished like that, just sometimes will stop showing the problem. So I want to leave it a little wider than I thought I would. So let me double check, make sure I didn't screw anything up. And if I hit enter, hey, look, it's the exact same answer, I think, as what I got in the last problem. Would you look at that? All right, so that's kind of the idea behind the remainder theorem. Now, you might be looking at this going, what's the point? Honestly, the remainder theorem, if, again, I know my math and number skills, my number skills are pretty decent. So doing synthetic division like this, I can do that. It's no problem. When I start looking at things like to the 4th power, to the 3rd power, if I was trying to do 6 to the 4th power, that's not happening in my head. I would absolutely have to do a calculator for that. So synthetic division allows me to do some of these problems without having to use a calculator, which is kind of nice sometimes. All right, so problem number 2, same set up. I know that x is 1 here. Let's see, we've got x to the 4th has a coefficient of 3. X to the 3rd has a coefficient of 4. X squared does not exist in this problem, so placeholder of 0. X is -5 or has a coefficient of -5, and my constant is 1. All right, little room to work. Drop that 3 down. All right, let's start multiplying. 1 times 3 is 3. added up. 1 times 7 is 7, added up. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 7 is 7. I said it right. Negative 5 times 7, no, now I'm saying it wrong. Negative 5 plus 7 is 2. I need to slow down. 1 times 2 is 2. Added up vertically, 1 plus 2 is 3. So f of 1 is 3. All right, so let's see what happens if I do the exact same problem, only this time I throw it in a calculator. So every place I have an x, I'm replacing it with the number 1. And actually, I'm pretty sure I probably don't even need a calculator for this. Let's see what I can do. So 1 to the 4th is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 to the 3rd is still 1. 4 times 1 is 4. Minus 5 plus 1. So let's see. 7. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 minus 5 is 2. 2 plus 1 makes 3. All right. So in either case, for this particular one, I didn't need a calculator, but obviously if you have the ability to use a calculator for this problem. Unless it says that you have to do synthetic division, in which case you got to show me synthetic division. All right, last 2 problems that I'm going to do. Problem number 3, the first part, I've got an x value of negative 3. And I am going to need a whole bunch of placeholders here. All right, x to the 6th, the coefficient is 2. X to the 5th, placeholder. X to the 4th, placeholder. X to the 3rd, 1. X squared is negative 4, has a coefficient of negative 4. X has a coefficient of 3, and my constant is negative 10. Whew. All right, let's see what we got here. Let me double check that. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, none. All right. Drop the first one. There's my 2. Negative 3 times 2, negative 6. Add them up. Negative 3 times negative 6 is 18. Add them up. 18 times 3 is 54. Make it negative, and I'm going to double check that just to make sure it is 54. Yep. All right, so let's see. Negative 54 plus 1 would be negative 53. Negative 53 times 3 is going to be positive 159, I believe. Yep, 159. Ooh, these are some big numbers. All right, so 159 minus 4 is going to be 155. All right, so if I multiply that times 400 something, 465. So 468 times negative 3, negative 1,404. So that's going to turn into negative 1,414, if I do that right. So plus negative 10. Yep. All right. So f of negative 3, let me try that 3 again. There we go, is equal to negative 1414. Ooh, not so pretty on the numbers there. All right, let's try it again, but this time we're going to use substitution. So f of negative 3 is going to equal 2 times negative 3 to the 6th plus negative 3 cubed minus 4 times negative 3 squared plus 3 times negative 3 minus 10. All right, into calculate 84 it goes, and I'll probably actually want to move the screen over in a minute. Whoops, how did I get a 33 in there? Delete that. All right, to the 6th. And this is why you check your work as you're going. Because, well, it's okay to make mistakes, but you know, checking on them is a good idea too. And then minus 10. All right, I'm going to slide this over just a second. There we go. All right, negative 3 to the 6th plus negative 3 cubed minus 4 times negative 3 squared plus 3 times. Okay, great. Oops, I must have made a mistake in my synthetic division. All right, so speaking of making mistakes, let's go back to my synthetic division and see what I did wrong. All right. So we're going to drop the 2. 3 is negative 6. Add up is negative 6. That's 18. Add up. All right. So now let's start this. That's negative 54. If I add 1 is negative 53 times negative 3. 159 plus negative 4. 155 times negative 3. Oops, this is supposed to be negative right here. See, that was my mistake. All right, so for any of you who are yelling at the screen saying, Miss Curran, you made a mistake. Yes, you're right, I did. So that's supposed to be negative 465. And then if I add 3, it's negative 462 times by negative 3 becomes a very different answer right here. And I'm going to lose that part there too. Okay, so this is actually negative, nope, positive. Okay, so that gives me 76 if I add that correctly. All right. So this is basically a good example of, yeah, we make mistakes, it's okay. And this is a good place to check your work. So if you do have to do synthetic division, show the synthetic division, but then make sure that you double check your work. All right. So problem number 7 is completely up to you to answer. You're taking a test where calculators are not permitted and you're asked to evaluate f of negative 5 for that function. You answer what's your preferred method. It's, for me, doesn't matter. I'm not going to tell you which one you have to prefer. On the test or any formatives, it will specifically say to use synthetic division. So be careful that you understand how to make it work. And then you can use a calculator or technology to check your work. All right.